CW picks up Sullivan's Crossing for Season 4 thanks to the show's recent surprise milestone. How did a small-town Canadian drama suddenly take over global streaming charts and unlock a secret deal that rewired the CW from the inside out? Because what just happened with Sullivan's Crossing isn't just a comeback, it's a silent takeover, one that nobody, not even the CW's former execs, saw coming. It all started with a forgotten Nova Scotian town, a disgraced neurosurgeon, and a TV network desperate to survive. But then, something strange happened. In the dead of night, Netflix flipped a switch, and when America woke up, Sullivan's Crossing was suddenly the fighty-one show in the country. This isn't just another feel-good drama. This is a corporate resurrection story, cloaked in love triangles and small-town redemption, and behind the scenes, a shadow agreement between platforms, an identity crisis inside the CW, and a forbidden media strategy once labeled career suicide. This is the untold story behind how Sullivan's Crossing became the unexpected savior of an entire TV network, and the forbidden blueprint it's using to secretly reshape modern television. Still watching? Good. Because what you're about to discover was never meant to be public. But now that it is, you'll never see your favorite shows, or platforms, the same way again. Let's start with the truth: most networks will never admit the CW is dying. Once the home of iconic teen dramas like The Vampire Diaries and Gossip Girl, the network had lost its identity. Nexstar had taken control and viewers were leaving in droves. Executives tried everything: reboots, rebrands, crossovers. Nothing stuck. Until one desperate programming exec did something completely unthinkable. They bet it all on a Canadian romance drama no one in the US had ever heard of. A show set in a tiny Nova Scotian town. No superheroes, no franchises, just raw emotion, trauma, and complicated love. On paper, it looked like a filler slot, but what the CW didn't realize was that Sullivan's Crossing had been hiding in plain sight, just waiting for a platform powerful enough to blow it wide open. That platform, Netflix. Once Sullivan's Crossing dropped its first 2 seasons on US Netflix, everything changed. Within 72 hours, the show jumped into the top 10. By the end of week 1, it was 81, beating out juggernauts like Bridgerton and Black Mirror. But here's where it gets stranger. The CW hadn't even confirmed Season 4 yet. The deal was still in limbo, and suddenly, their inboxes exploded. Fans, agents, advertisers, everyone was asking the same question. Where's Season 4? Now ask yourself, why would a quiet Canadian production go nuclear years after premiering in Canada? The answer is darker than you think, because Netflix didn't just revive a show. They exposed a weakness in the American TV system. Here's the forbidden part: Sullivan's Crossing only succeeded because it was rejected by US standards first. It wasn't built by algorithms, it wasn't cast with influencers. It was raw, slow, emotional, and for that exact reason, it broke through. Think that's a coincidence? Think again, because this isn't just about one show, it's about how TV is being manipulated behind the scenes, and how one overlooked drama just triggered a seismic shift in power. So why should you care? Because this is the exact kind of story executives are now racing to replicate, and once it's automated, you won't even realize it's happening. They want you distracted, comfortable, binging, but you're smarter than that. This is why every single viewer needs to subscribe to this channel right now. Because we're not just reacting to media stories, we're decoding the buried strategies before they use them on you. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because what we're about to expose next might disappear tomorrow. Here's what the public wasn't told behind closed doors. Brad Schwartz, president of entertainment at the CW, was quietly monitoring Sullivan's Crossing's Netflix numbers, and what he saw terrified him. Because Netflix had achieved in 3 days what the CW failed to do in 3 seasons. It wasn't just about ratings, it was about control. The CW realized that Netflix had just proven a dangerous truth. A tiny romantic drama could outperform the biggest American productions if it was left untouched. No over-editing, no studio notes, no brand interference. It was a storytelling purist's dream. But to the networks, it was a threat. Here's where things get even more secretive. By the time Sullivan's Crossing hit Fanny 1, CW executives were already on the phone with Bell Media. The deal for Season 4, fast-tracked in 48 hours. But it wasn't just a renewal, it was a shift in direction. Insiders say this deal marked the moment the CW formally pivoted away from legacy teen drama and toward a grounded, nostalgic, anti-algorithm model. In short, they saw what Netflix had done, and now they wanted in. But don't be fooled. This wasn't an apology. It was an opportunistic takeover. Because when a network realizes it can regain control by playing authentic, it stops being about story and starts being about strategy. So let's talk about Maggie and Cal. Their romance may seem like classic small-town comfort, but don't let the warmth fool you. Every beat of their relationship, from the first meet, cute to the restaurant scene in the Season 3 finale, was engineered from a secret playbook. And it didn't come from the CW, it came from Virgin River. You see, both shows are based on novels by Robyn Carr. Both feature a female medical professional haunted by trauma. Both involve a rugged love interest with a shadowy past. Both are set in idyllic rural backdrops. But here's the twist: Virgin River's formula was never meant to be duplicated. Netflix had a lock on it, until Sullivan's Crossing slipped through the cracks. What happened next was quiet, but deadly. An internal document known only as the Carr curve was reportedly circulated among producers. It mapped out emotional beats, viewer tension cycles, and character archetype triggers, all based on Virgin River's binge analytics. This forbidden framework was then grafted onto Sullivan's Crossing, and it worked. Too well. Because by season 3, audiences weren't just watching Maggie and Cal, they were predicting them, anticipating every kiss, feeling every betrayal, and begging for the next cliffhanger. But here's the secret, this emotional familiarity wasn't organic, it was manufactured, and now it's being licensed. That's right. Sources confirm that several international networks have requested the Carr curve to reverse engineer their own local dramas. So what does that mean for Sullivan's Crossing Season 4? It means danger, because once a network starts following a formula too closely, it stops innovating, and starts repeating. Which brings us to the darkest secret of all. Season 4 may be the end, even if it succeeds. Behind closed doors, some insiders believe Sullivan's Crossing has already fulfilled its hidden purpose. Remember, this show was never about one storyline. It was about testing a model. Can authentic emotion be monetized? Can anti-franchise storytelling beat the algorithm? Can nostalgia replace novelty? The answer now is yes. But here's what they won't tell you, that model has a shelf life, and it's already expiring. Why? Because the more successful Sullivan's Crossing becomes, the more copycats will flood the space. Netflix clones, CW clones, European clones, all chasing the same formula, which means the viewers, you'll start noticing the patterns, the predictability, the emotional manipulation hidden beneath, relatable drama, and once you do, the spell breaks, the trust collapses, the audience moves on. So what happens next? That depends on one thing they don't want you to know. There's a secret clause, buried in the cross-border co-production contract between the CW and Bell Media, a clause that limits US creative control if the show surpasses specific audience benchmarks. And guess what? It already has. Sources suggest that if Sullivan's Crossing retains top-tier performance on Netflix for more than 90 consecutive days, the Canadian team gains full storyline control for Season 5. That means no more CW notes, no more American restructuring, and no more enforced cliffhangers. But to the CW, that's a threat, because losing narrative control doesn't just affect one show, it sets a precedent. Which is why, despite the Season 4 greenlight, some insiders believe the CW will start quietly sabotaging the show's momentum. Late premiere dates, low marketing, strategic silence. It's not a cancellation, it's something worse, a slow burial. One that viewers won't notice until it's already gone, unless you know what to look for. You've seen the signs. The sudden Netflix surge, the corporate scramble, the subtle changes to Cal's screen time, the hints about Maggie's unresolved past. But what if I told you that unresolved storylines are not accidents? They're insurance. Because shows like Sullivan's Crossing are now built with something called narrative elasticity. It means the story can stretch or snap based on internal analytics. If the show performs, Maggie's past gets revealed in episode 4. If the show drops, the reveal gets delayed or deleted forever. It's modular storytelling, and it's being tested on you. This is why so many shows today feel like they're building towards something, and then just stall. It's not bad writing, it's strategic withholding. And Sullivan's Crossing is the prototype. Here's what no one's saying out loud: the biggest threat to TV right now isn't low ratings, it's over-success. Because when a show becomes too powerful, it stops being art, and starts being leverage, and leverage scares networks, because it means creators might walk away, or worse, go independent. So as Sullivan's Crossing heads into Season 4, watch closely, look for moments that feel off, cuts that feel abrupt, storylines that get teased and never closed. These aren't just creative decisions, they're signals, and if the network gets nervous enough, they'll pull the plug, before you ever get closure. But here's the final twist: they may not get the chance. Because if enough people know the truth, if enough of us watch critically, not just casually, then they can't hide the manipulation anymore. Which means the power goes back to the audience, back to you. So let's rewind. A forgotten show, an unexpected Netflix explosion, a secret emotional formula, and a quiet war for creative control. Sullivan's Crossing was never just a TV drama. It was a test of networks, of viewers, of how far authentic emotion could go in a scripted world. And now, the test results are in. So the next time you binge something that feels too perfect, ask yourself, is it really for you? Or is it being used on you? Subscribe, not because I told you to, but because now you understand why they'd rather you didn't. This channel exists to expose what others bury. And Sullivan's Crossing was just the beginning.